Hello and welcome to my review of the Ricoh GR3. This is an excellent pocket-sized camera. It has a single lens, like so. It's a single prime lens, it's f2.8, it's equivalent to 28mm. The camera is an APS-C sensor, and this small form factor to get an APS-C sensor in is really doing quite well. At the top we have a hot shoe for a flash. The camera contains no flash, but you can always add one externally if you want. This isn't the type of camera you would generally use flash with, but the ability is there. We've got a mode dial with manual, shutter priority, aperture priority, program mode, and 3 user-defined categories here. Because this camera is designed to be coming in and out of pockets, you can't change the mode dial easily or knock it accidentally. You have to press down this button here if you want to change the mode. On the back we've got a dial here. They've got a jog dial, and you press it in, it has additional functionality. On the front we've got a dial as well. On the side we've got a button which is really for video or Wi-Fi, although you can adapt that. We've got a playback button, we've got a function button, we've got a direction pad here, and we've got a macro, a drive button, white balance button, ISO button, OK button. We've got a menu and we've got a display. Here we have USB charging. On the bottom we have slot for battery and SD card. Now the battery isn't the best battery in the world. It doesn't last amazingly long. However, it's suitable for a full day of my shooting. So you can attach a wrist strap here, here and here. And I would encourage attaching a wrist strap. The grip's quite good, it's quite pronounced. And what I like about this is you can operate the whole camera one-handedly, which is really useful. So this front dial will change the aperture. This back jog dial changes the shutter speed when we're in manual mode. And you can operate this very easily with one hand. The startup time and the close down time are very good. Single press and you're ready to do shooting. What I particularly like about the camera is if I press the adjust button in, I get access to a quick menu, and everything is customizable on this camera, and I can change what's on the quick menu and I can change what the buttons do. But I've left it generally as default. So I can change the image control, which really is film simulation. So I can go put it in black and white, vivid, sepia, etc. I can change the focus modes. You can either use touch to move through, or you can just use the up and down on the D-pad. The focus modes are really what make this camera really good. It has very good autofocus. It won't be the quickest autofocusing camera, but I think it's very quick and very snappy. We can select the autofocus, and to do that you just touch on the screen where you want the autofocus point to be. And when you're in manual focus, if you hold this down, you can change focusing distance. We can go from infinity all the way down to 0.3 meters. Snap focus is where the camera focuses at a predefined distance. This is really useful for zone focusing. If I want to change it, I can go into the menu and I can go all the way up here to focusing, and I can change my snap distance focus in the menu. I can go from 1.5 to 2.55 meters and infinity. Or if I hold this down, I can cycle through them using the front dial. And my last focus option is just to set it to infinity. So one of the big features of the Ricoh GR series is the snap focus, and I agree, it's very good. However, all the other focusing features are very good as well. Here we have metering, and we have our multi-metering, our center weighted, our spot metering, and these three are on most cameras, but this one, I've only seen this on the Ricoh GR, and it's highlight priority metering, and that means that highlights are preserved. The camera meters for the highlights, and then it sets accordingly. So it means you never get blown out highlights. And because this is a modern APS-C sensor, if you expose for the highlights, you can bring the shadows up in post and you'll get a very nice and very pleasing image. The camera takes JPEGs, RAW and JPEGs and RAW. I take most of my images in JPEG, and what we can do is take an image there. If I go to the playback button and I go to menu, I can go to RAW development, and in RAW development I can change the parameters and I can export as a JPEG. So that RAW image I can export as a large, small, medium, extra small JPEG. I can change the aspect ratio, change the color space, I can change the white balance even, I can change the film profile, and I can do things with shadow correction if I want to. And then what I can go and do is save that as a JPEG, which is fantastic. The Ricoh GR3 is a camera that is designed for going out shooting, and it's very easy to get things onto your phone. You'll notice I've got my Bluetooth icon here. I've got the Image Sync app, so if I load that, this will connect my phone to my camera, and it takes a long time to connect, but once it connects, it's really good. It takes a while to join, and what I can do is I can set the camera to be on Bluetooth permanently and always linked to my phone, but I decided not to do that because I was concerned about the battery life. So it's joining now, it's connecting, and then what I can do is I can pick an image and I could just transfer it to my phone. And RAW images transfer very well. I'd say they transfer quickly in under 10 seconds. Now it's on my phone, I can edit it, I can publish it to Instagram, I can do whatever I want with it. And one thing to note is I've talked about RAW images, but this camera uses DNG, so the images can be universally processed anywhere. You also get an ND filter included in the camera built in. You can set it to auto or on. I'm just going to turn it off for the moment. You can do macro mode, and the Ricoh GR3 will focus down to 6 centimeters. Go into macro mode, just press it and you're in macro mode, and you can focus down to 6 centimeters. Press it to come out again and you're done. Now, I've done a video on the macro mode where I talk about using the macro mode and how to get the most out of it, and you can see that here. The Ricoh GR has a video mode, and the video mode is quite good. You can do things like macro, you can have the different film simulations, you can have stabilization on, you can put the ND filter on. What you can do in stills, you can do in video, and it's very powerful. However, you cannot add an external mic, and even when you're in manual mode, it's all automatic. So you can't go changing the settings, you can't go changing the shutter speed or the aperture. Those things are done automatically, and you can tell that because it's got P down in the bottom, so it's in program mode. Video records at 2430 and 60p. So while you get decent frame rates, I don't know if this is the camera for video people. You might be able to get some decent things out of it. When I used the stabilization in video, it was very obvious I was walking with it. So we're not looking at GoPro hyper smooth stabilization, we're looking at stabilization really that's suitable for still images. One of the things that's plagued the Ricoh GR series is getting dust inside the camera. Obviously this is a fixed prime lens, you can't take it off, you can't swap lenses out, but we have this cavity here and the lens moves in and out, which is very good because it means it's flush to go in your pocket, pop it out and it's ready, but you may start to get dust moving in. Now this Ricoh GR3 has dust removal because it's got a stabilized sensor, so the sensor can move. I don't know how good it is. I've not had the Ricoh GR3 long enough. I've not had an issue with dust that I can really make a comment on it, but it does have dust removal capabilities. The ISO performance is very good, and you can see here me taking pictures at various ISOs. I've kept everything the same. All I'm changing is the ISO, but the exposure is the same. And you can see how well the ISO performs and really what its upper limit is. And you can see the upper limit here.